Next, breaking news just 2 days after we learned of the Department of Energy's admittedly low confidence assessment that the COVID pandemic began with a lab leak in Wuhan, China. Tonight on Fox, FBI Director Christopher Wray publicly acknowledged the FBI believes it too, but with what sounds like higher confidence.
The FBI has for quite some time now assessed that the origins of the pandemic are most likely a potential lab incident in Wuhan. Let me step back for a second. The FBI has folks, agents, professionals, analysts, virologists, microbiologists, et cetera, who focus specifically on the dangers of biological threats, which include things like novel viruses like COVID, and the concerns that in the wrong hands, some bad guys, a hostile nation state, a terrorist, a criminal, the threats that those could pose. So here you're talking about a potential leak from a Chinese government-controlled lab that killed millions of Americans, and that's precisely what that capability was designed for.
Director Wray added that the Bureau's investigation continues and the Chinese government, in his view, seems to be trying to, quote, thwart and obfuscate the work here. CNN's David Culver joins us now with more. What is your sense of the significance of Director Wray's comments? Do you expect any official Chinese reaction? Obviously, they have swatted this down before.
Yeah, they're good at doing that, and they'll continue likely to do it again. I mean, it's significant given that these are his first public comments on the FBI's investigation. And he reiterates that there is moderate confidence from the agency's investigation that this started as a lab leak. I think what we would love to see is some of the intel that actually details why they come to that conclusion. But he held back on specifics, as have most of these agencies, as they've come forward with their conclusions. As far as the Chinese and how they're going to go forward with this, I mean, it's been playbook at this point, Anderson, and some of it's quite literally scripted from the foreign ministry, though at this point they've probably memorized it. And that's to say that the U.S. is trying to smear China, that this is politicizing the issue. And they often go back to that science-based approach. They say that's the way this should be done, through science. The issue with that is, while the WHO initially said after their field visit in 2021 that it's highly unlikely it started in a lab, the WHO also asked to go back. And if China really wants to pursue that science-based approach, you would think they'd say, all right, come on back in. Any data you need, we'll provide. They've done the opposite. They've said no to the data and no to another visit.
Right. And I mean, the data is really critical. They have not provided the data that scientists would need to really understand exactly and zero in on the origin.
That's been the issue going back to the start of this. Now, they argue that they have provided enough to allow the international science community to figure out what steps they need to move forward, and they argue that even played into some of the vaccine creation. But the reality on the ground has been that there's just been a wall after a wall for a lot of these scientists and researchers who pointed out that they were not there as investigators. They wanted to stress that, and that's kind of a way to ease in from the Chinese side in particular, because they don't want the Chinese to think that they're trying to really convict them on something. The Chinese hated this idea that they would potentially be seen as to be blamed globally for this. But the reality has stood that any information that would get us conclusive evidence as to how this started has really not come from the Chinese, and that approach doesn't seem to change anytime soon.
It's interesting that China keeps saying about this shouldn't be politicized. They're clearly aware of, in some quarters, a political divide that exists over the lab leak theory in the United States.
Oh, yeah, they're acutely aware of that. And they watch closely how it's played out here in Washington in particular. And they love that. I mean, they love to see the division over the discussion of how it started and Democrats going against Republicans on this. That's really what they try to foster more than anything else. And they are hoping that that'll continue to distract things. The problem that they're seeing here is that there is bipartisan support to be tough on China, and the party and state media sees this in particular. And they hope for another campaign cycle more than anything else in which they'll see more division, the infighting, and then that will distract things once again, Anderson.
David Culver, appreciate it. Thank you.